Okay, so in this video we're going to review how to solve an equation using the equality properties that we went over class yesterday. Okay, so what you want to do is identify what's happening to the equation here. So notice this is your x term, 6x. Okay, and what our goal is to leave x on its own so we could have 1x. So if you notice here, if I go ahead and shade this part right here, we're multiplying the one I'm shading in yellow here, and the one I'm shading in green here, we're adding by 25. So we know that we have to do the opposite of those things. So one way you can do it is that you could get rid of the 25 first, since it's a positive 25 or you're adding 25. You do the opposite, which is subtract 25, and you do that to both sides, because that's the property of inequality. So whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. And then what happens is that here, 25 minus 5, this will make a giant 0. So on the left side of the equation, you're left with 6x is equal to, and then you do 79 minus 25. Alright, so if I work that out there, 79 minus 25, okay, you would get 54. Okay, now here again, if we go back to the yellow here, right here it's multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication, that would be division. So since they're multiplying right here, you would do the opposite, so you divide by 6, and you have to show your algebra, and whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So this makes a giant 1, right? So this makes a giant 1 like this. So we get 1x is equal to, and then 54 divided by 6 gives us 9. Okay, so that's how you would do it that way if you get rid of the 25 first. But suppose you want to go the other route and you want to get rid of the 6 first. It's a little messy, but it could be done. So let me show you that real quick. Okay, so since they're multiplying right here, what you want to do is do the opposite. So what you could do is you could divide by 6, but you have to remember that you have two other terms here. So according to the equality property, if I divide by 6 on this first term, I could also I also have to divide by 6 on every term like that. So right here you get a giant 1. So you would get 1x is 1x plus. Now the problem is that right here 6 doesn't really go evenly here, and if you do it on a calculator, you get like a repeating decimal. So my recommendation is just to leave it as a fraction. So you have 25 over 6 is equal to, and the same thing happens here. So what you want to do is just leave it as a fraction, 79 over 6. Okay, and the reason is because it keeps the same denominator, which is kind of nice. So then my next step, okay, is to get rid of this section. So notice how it's adding, so the opposite of addition will be subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 25 over 6 on both sides of the equation. Okay, and this kind of looks like the do now that we did before. Now this part here, when it subtracts each other, it gives you a 0. So right here you get a giant 0 here. So this goes away and you get x on its own equals to, and notice that they have the same denominator, so I'm going to keep it. And then 75 minus 25, that gives you 54. And then when you divide that, you get x is equal to 9. So notice we did it two different ways. So whichever way you want to do it, it's up to you. Okay, and I'll do the next example on the next video.